Greetings, mortals. I'm Warevo, and you guessed it, I'm doing yet another childhood classic. This is Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, or Sonic 2 as it's more commonly known by, was developed in 1992 by Sega Technical Institute, or STI, which was an American video game developer who was owned by Sega. STI also developed Comix Zone, another personal favorite I may review at some point. The original Sonic the Hedgehog was a masterpiece that put Sega on the map, and Sonic 2 doubled down on that legacy and ensured Sega remained a video game powerhouse for years to come. Sonic himself is a cocky, edgy counterpart to Mario who loves speed. The second game in the series sees the introduction of his best friend, Tails, or as his real name, Miles Per Hour, a pun on miles per hour, and sees the return of Dr. Robotnik. Actually, let's talk about the good doctor for a moment. There's some confusion among the older audience that grew up with the English versions about why he eventually went from Dr. Robotnik to Eggman. Actually, it's the other way around. His original name in the original Japanese version of the game is Dr. Eggman because of his egg-like shape. It wasn't until the game was localized in the West that his name was changed to Dr. Ivan Robotnik. One of the rumors going around is that it was changed to avoid fat shaming. But according to the game developer Takashi Tezuka in an interview with Game Informer in 2016, quote, "They just kind of went off and did it. It became super popular and everyone in the West kind of learned about the character as Robotnik. That went on through the classic series in the Genesis Mega Drive era. But as far as the developers are concerned, we really didn't want anyone in the Sonic universe with two names. To us, he's Eggman, but in the rest of the world, he's called Robotnik. We wanted to unify that into one name moving forward. This is something I actually did in the Sonic Adventure series. I made it so that we understand the character's name is Robotnik, but his nickname is Eggman. And as far as everyone is concerned in the world now, we're just going to call him Eggman as his official name." Now that that's out of the way, let's get to the actual game, shall we? The game starts off with the familiar, iconic intro that we all know, with Sonic and Tails popping out of the ring. You hit start and are immediately dropped into the action. Emerald Hill has to be my second favorite level just for the visuals. Yeah, it's cliche, I know, but I love the grass in the foreground and the ocean and the waterfalls in the background. The high speeds and fast-paced action, the spin dash you didn't have in Sonic 1, you gotta love the rush of flying through enemies, but you have to pay attention or else stuff like this happens. Each zone has two sections. The first section leads to a spinning flagpole, and the second leads to a boss battle with Robotnik. The first boss battle shows Robotnik driving this weird tank thing with a drill on it. Time the jumps and bash him in the head. But what I really want to talk about here is the music. The soundtrack for this game was composed by Masato Nakamura, who is the bassist for a J-pop band called Dreams Come True. Kinda like how Stuart Copeland, also from a popular band at the time, composed the music for another game I reviewed recently, Spyro the Dragon. Masato Nakamura nailed many different styles of music across all the different levels. Of all the music in the game though, Robotnik's theme, which is used for the boss battles, has to be my favorite, with the Casino Night theme coming in a very close second. If you collect 50 rings in a level, you can also go to a checkpoint and enter a bonus stage, where you can get a Chaos Emerald. I think you need to get all 7 Chaos Emeralds to get the canon ending, but I can't even get a single one. These bonus levels are another in a long list of things I have never been able to do, because I suck at things that involve reflexes. There's also a 2-player mode so you and a friend can go head-to-head in either one of 3 main stages, racing the opponent to the finish line, or in an alternate version of the aforementioned bonus stage. The bonus stages here require lightning-fast reflexes, and a strong desire to see your opponents suffer. The second level is the chemical plant. This is where we get our first taste of that infamous musical cue that gave an entire generation of gamers PTSD. The sonic drowning music is one of the most legendarily haunting musical cues of all time. But to truly understand it, I have to put you into the time. So you're zooming around the level at top speed, destroying every batnik in your path. Suddenly, you end up in the water. You start traversing the platforms going back up to the surface. Everything's fine, right? But then, out of nowhere, they smack you in the face with this music that suddenly jolts you out of whatever fantasy land you were in, and you realize you only have 5 seconds to reach the surface. Panic starts to set in. You lose your cool. You hesitate just 1 split second too long, and you drown. Most of the younger audience won't understand, but for those who were there, here's your reminder of the trauma. After beating the level 2 boss, you're dropped in the Mystic Ruin Zone, a zone entirely dominated by water. Fortunately, I was able to stay on land through most of it. But if you do end up in the water, good luck getting back to the surface. They do give you little air bubbles now and then, but they only spawn every so often. Make your way to the end of the zone and drop the hammer on the next boss, then you're on to the Casino Night Zone. This is my absolute favorite level in the whole game. I love the colors, the busy atmosphere, the bright environment. The whole stage is like one big slot machine. But the boss in this level is a bit of a pain. Mr. Eggface in this level takes a page out of Lakitu's book from Super Mario Bros., where he drops spike balls on. The problem here is you're in sort of an inescapable half-pipe type of thing, and it's kind of hard to control sometimes. But here's my strategy for this part. Use the spin dash and run along the side of the wall closest to Robotnik. Then, while still spinning, jump off the wall and hit him. Rinse, repeat. Next is Hilltop Zone, and this level is pretty straightforward. Avoid the pits and the little red guys with the drills on their heads. Be careful in the rooms with the lava, because the lava does rise, so you only have a short time to pass through safely. And you need to be fast, because sometimes you end up having to race the lava. The next boss takes a bit of practice, but he's a cinch once you get the pattern down. Then it's on to the Mystic Cave Zone. Of all the levels in the game, this one for me is the most confusing. The whole thing is incredibly maze-like, and it's really easy to get lost or die. But once you make it through and you get to the next boss, you find out he's pretty easy. For the most part, you can just hug the wall on the left side and stay safe. But you still make sure to keep your eyes open. Next up is Oil Ocean, which, while not a hard level, is a little more difficult to navigate due to the oil pools and spikes everywhere. The oil here has the same effect as the water in the first game. Level boss here, same story, really easy once you learn the pattern. Learn the pattern, take him out. Next is Metropolis Zone, and this is where things start getting genuinely difficult. This zone has 3 sections, all overrun with boomerang-throwing praying mantises, kamikaze starfish that hide in the walls that are all over the frickin' place, and these stupid nuts and bolts things. The level boss here is one of the easiest in the whole game. He sends out clones of himself that you can get rid of by smacking the underside of their ship. Same old story. Boring. Next. Sky Chase Zone is also pretty easy as long as you pay attention. I was able to make it through without dying once. Avoid the enemies and you're good to go. No boss battle, no grand fight to the finish with Dr. Eggface. Wing Fortress is arguably the most treacherous level to navigate. Reason being, you're way up in the sky and there's no floor beneath you most of the time. With a bit of practice, you can make it to the level boss, which, After nearly 20 to 30 minutes of abusing the save state, I gave up. That's right, the multitude of spiky platforms combined with the super laser ended up being too much for me, and I reset and pulled out the level select code. Alright, so here's how this works. Back in the golden age of video games, some Sega Genesis game had what's called a soundboard or a sound test area. And often that soundboard was how you input the cheat codes. Sonic 2 is one of those games. In the options menu, go to Sound Test. From there, input the sounds in order 19, 65, 9, 17. If you do it right, you'll hear the familiar ring collect sound. From there, press start or reset the console. Then, when the menu pops up, hold A and press start. Then, you're in the level select menu. From there, you can go straight to whatever level you want. All I care about is the Death Egg. The Death Egg has no rings, no power-ups, no nothing. You're left to your own wits. The first thing you do is fight Metal Sonic. If you're using an emulator as I am, make sure you abuse that save state. Metal Sonic is the hardest boss in the whole game. You have to be very careful what angle you hit him. If you hit him from the very top of the head, you'll die, which kind of makes sense because sharp metal spikes. So you have to hit him at sort of an angle. He has multiple different types of attacks, but most of the harder ones he usually only uses once. But the order of the attacks, fortunately, never changes. So once you know what the next attack is, you can plan accordingly. Once you finally get past Metal Sonic, you face the final boss, Dr. Egghead's egg robot. It took me a while to figure this one out, but the strategy I ended up using is this. You wait for him to fly up, then run away just as he's about to land. While the robot is still crouched, you can land a hit before he gets back up. After you hit him, immediately spin dash to the opposite end of the arena, outside the range of his rocket claws that he fires at you. Whatever you do, make sure you don't get caught behind him. If you do, he'll fire off bombs from his jetpack that you can't avoid. Take down Egg Butt, then you get the final cutscene, and at last, you've finished the game. And that's Sonic the Hedgehog 2. It's awesome, and it's a lot of fun. Most of the bosses are pretty easy once you learn the patterns, though some of the enemies are a pain in the butt. I can honestly say I loved recording the footage for this video, and revisiting this game after almost 30 years was a lot of fun. Anyone who enjoys fast-paced, high-speed action will absolutely love this. And this game is definitely well worthy of its status as one of the greatest games of all time. Now, I know I'm leaving out a few things, like the fact that this is the game that introduced the concept of Super Sonic into the series. You can unlock Super Sonic in this game by collecting all 7 Chaos Emeralds, then collecting 50 rings in a level. But I can't tell you guys everything. I have to leave some secrets for you guys to discover, otherwise, I'd just be another walkthrough, and not a review. I'm Warevo, thank you so much for joining me, and God bless.